Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kuntarkis. My name is Michael Yon, and this episode is The Human Pineal Gland, Part B. So here's Kuntarkis.
One of the most interesting factors of the pineal gland is your spiritual connection directly through your mind, even your imagination, to your soul. When that is encased with a substance called fluoride, it totally closes down. And if it's left the way it is for years and years and years, it begins a horrible, how would you say, a horrible death to itself. It literally begins to disintegrate, go wrinkle, and it takes a lot to rejuvenate it. But if your pineal gland is open, you have, if you allow yourself to really go beyond your level of thinking, you have the possibilities of bringing knowledge in that is rightfully yours. And you can connect to spirit and communicate with them, whoever they may be, even a family member or a spirit from the elemental worlds or spirits from alien beings that are of a friendly nature. The possibilities are endless. The knowledge is endless. The visions are quite incredible. So I just want to explain something briefly as an example about a vision that I had last night, or actually in the early hours of the morning. When I went to bed last night, I said my affirmations. I placed the energy around me and laid over, and within moments I was asleep. So I slept right through to about 18 minutes past 1. I woke up as bright can be. And I lay there for about probably 10 minutes, and suddenly I noticed these strange colors all starting to appear in front of me. And I realized, and I said to myself, okay, something is being shown to me. What is it? I'm here. Please show me. And the colors become brighter and more in depth. And that in depth was universes. And I was just laying there watching. And as it was becoming closer, it started to move within a universe. And I was told by this alien being that this race of beings are directly connected to the one called Yarkis. And I asked why. And the answer was that he actually went to their planet over 8 years ago from the human perspective in time, and he literally helped them overcome horrible, horrible earthquakes, horrible floods, and a variety of other things, disasters, fires, everything, people getting sick, dying, and no one could work out what it was. Now, this race of beings are not into technology the way, say, we are, and yet they're probably about 6 to 8 million years old in evolution. They are full vegetarians, but they were being attacked by a reptilian race of beings, and they had this technology that caused earthquakes, that caused fires, that caused flooding by shifting of the energy of that planet, and also to make the beings there really, really sick. They actually wanted the planet. Now, isn't that interesting? And they were looking over a period of time to wipe out that entire race. Apparently, a signal was sent out. Another planet, thousands of light years from that one, in that same universe, sent a signal out. And those signals traveled all around. And Father picked up the signal wherever he was. And he immediately looked at it and went straight to the planet. He went as an Acharon. And he introduced himself. He came down out of the sky to the people. The people were just overwhelmed by it. He explained who he was, where he came from, all that type of stuff. And then he said, I am here to give you some assistance or help. Please explain to me what is going on. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Father felt a vibration coming from a great distance. And he looked up into the sky and he saw a vibration, a beam that was probably hundreds of feet wide. And it was vibrating down to the planet from some distant spaceship that was absolutely enormous. And Father beamed energy directly at it and vaporized it. Out of nowhere, within 15 minutes, they saw a spaceship entering that vibration. And it was a mothership, massive, black, shaped, I'm not even sure what I could call it, what it was shaped like, but it was massive. And it threatened to open fire. Father said, or Kuntarkis said to the people, this is your issue. Would you like me to terminate it? And they all looked at him with a smile and said, please, we have been suffering for now over 2 years, really badly, and our people are dying. Father turned to the ship and he literally raised both hands. He brought him from outside his shoulders to his chest, and within moments he sent a beam. The beam was really powerful. I can see it, powerful. And it went straight up to the ship and hit it. And when it hit the ship, it's like it penetrated the metal and it literally covered the entire ship. Now, when I say ship, I'm not joking. It was massive, massive. When it covered the whole ship, Father broke the energy field and he slapped his hands together and he said, annihilate completely. The ship started vaporizing, and within moments, the entire ship, the structure, whatever was inside, was gone forever. The people put on a massive, let's say, party that night. And there were thousands that had come to it, and they all celebrated. And Father was so impressed with the generosity and the love of heart by those people, that what he did, he went around after the party and visited what they would call, no, they wouldn't call it that, but it's places of rest. And people were looking after those ones that were really, really sick, that were dying from the energy fields. He literally transformed them all back into perfect health. And then he transferred it all over the planet. The planet was covered in a beautiful silvery energy that literally healed everyone and made everyone feel perfectly healthy. Because there were so many, I'm talking hundreds of thousands, that were still sick but still could stand on their feet. And then he healed all the vegetation over the entire planet. And he suddenly, this is a really interesting one, he suddenly became the actual energy itself over the entire planet, so he could see that everything was back to the way it was meant to be. And then out of nowhere, the energy just zoomed back down onto the ground where the people were, and he formulated back into being an Akaron, as Kuntarkis. So he spent several days there making sure everything was perfect, and he did exactly the same thing. He put an energy field around their planet, so nothing could enter that was of an evil nature. Anything that came from the heart, he would allow it to be. The energy would not be disruptive. But anything that was evil, and they try to get through, anything that touched that force field would disintegrate automatically. And I think that was absolutely brilliant. And that's really what I was shown, the whole thing. And all the neighboring planets. And he said to me, Yankas did, that in that universe, there are over 14,000 planets that actually have some form of life. And the distance between planet Earth in this universe and their universe is something like 92 million light years from Earth. And that's a really long way. So very interesting, mate. It was a very interesting experience.
Wow, yeah. And he spent a few days there just putting everything back together.
Yeah, he did. Now, back to the pineal gland. Also, one thing I have to say, which will make a complete sense, Father also, when he healed their bodies, he also healed their pineal gland. The pineal gland will suffer in any species through negative energies. So he also healed that so they could have their spiritual communication. It's the same with humanity. We've spoken about this in the episode A about the pineal gland, but let's say it again. We have an evil force on this planet called the elite criminals. And for a long period of time, they are trying to control humanity. And with the pineal gland, they learnt from the Second World War, when Hitler was there, how to use a negative aspect against the development of the pineal gland. And that was fluoride. Fluoride encases it. And eventually it deteriorates and eventually it will die. When they used the bioweapon, which is COVID-19, that also was created within that vial, some kind of toxic poison that would literally deteriorate the pineal gland at a much faster rate. And that's why the crematorians who, I think I said that word right, the crematorians, they discovered how the pineal gland was completely shriveled up in the dead people that died of mostly heart attacks, because it was caused by the bioweapon, which is COVID-19.
Or the vaccination.
Yeah, or the vaccination. That proves that the elite criminals want to control humanity through whatever they do, because they can't control 8.3 billion humans, too many. So they're doing it the other way. But now, let's look at it another way. If we learn to understand that we are just not human, we walk in a human body. It takes fire, water, air, earth, spirit to exist in a physical, solid matter body in the third dimension. That's what it takes. It takes those elements: fire, water, air, earth, spirit. And if we study the human body from another conscious level, we will come to the truth that that's what it is. So we exist because we're born through parents, genetically. And we have a pineal gland. That is our spiritual essence to develop ourselves in higher levels of consciousness. That means we step up in our evolution as a single being. The elite criminals know that. So they've done what they've done, and it's affected many. And what it does, it degenerates the level of consciousness that you are at. And what happens without you even knowing? You suddenly think on a different level. And when I say different level, I mean a lower level than what you have been. So you can't go up the ladder in higher levels of consciousness. And when somebody presents something to you and say, or they said, hey, look, you can overcome this problem if you use your imagination, or if you're willing to go beyond how you think and let go of your negative energies. They'll look at you as if you're an idiot because of their second dimensional level of thinking. Now, first, second dimensional levels, there are people here today that have been that and are that. They have not evolved into the third dimensional level of understanding or thinking. They haven't learned to open up the heart. They haven't learned that the mind is completely separate to the human logical brain of ego. It's a storage, just like a computer. Hard for people to understand that because they say, but I can think. Of course you can, naturally. But your mind is there helping you, but you aren't aware of your mind's activity on your human brain. But if we can go beyond by saying to ourselves, I want to connect to my mind, being pure energy. If we concentrate on that every single day of our life, just once a day, twice a day, or 10 times a day, it only takes a few seconds. And if we say this, I am a conscious living being made of living energy, and I now connect my consciousness to my mind. I want to communicate with my mind of knowledge because it has a direct link to my soul. I now connect to my mind. I now connect to my mind. And I think through my mind beyond human logic. You can still use your human logic, but when you become spontaneous in what you do, doesn't matter what it is. It can be a carpenter, a tiler, manufacturing cars, whatever it may be, a dressmaker. When you connect to your mind, your whole perspective on your existence of knowledge changes 100%. Now, here's a simple thing about the encased pineal gland. They have so many products now in the last probably 6 to 12 months ago, and they're all trying to sell it. And everyone seems to be going and taking parts of that advertisement and using it. And there's a lot of scammers. And I've said this to you before just recently. There is a product called moringa powder, and it's been used for thousands of years. And what it does, it balances out not just the acidic acid in your body, your stomach. It also has high protein. It also has high magnesium. It has so many nutrients that your body requires. That's why the Indian civilization used it for thousands of years. Buddha used to use it, and he used to express it and create it and give it to the community that he went and visited so they would grow consciously, because it cleanses the entire body. But what it also does through your thinking, it helps cleanse if you take it daily, especially in the morning, just a half a teaspoon. After a few months, then a full teaspoon, flat. If you take that moringa powder every single day, within several months, you will feel the massive difference as long as you have a good diet. And I mean a diet beyond eating the slaughtered animals. because the animals are full of toxicity. They are full of COVID-19 injections, and they are full of synthetic hormones, which is creating a massive problem within our society when it comes to sexual preference and all that type of stuff. That's caused by synthetic hormones. When you take that moringa, it will help balance out your entire body. But it will also slowly, which is the only thing, slowly, it will also slowly help to break down the hardness of the fluoride. Because when it goes around the pineal gland, it becomes hard and crusty. So it's very hard to get into it. Vibration. Now this is where a secret is. Maybe it's not a secret, but I call it the secret. If you sit in a meditation and say you've been taking moringa powder for, say, 4 or 5 months, and you begin to start doing meditation, as you're doing your meditation, you can actually feel through your imagination that you're creating an energy from your heart, which is vibrating right throughout your body, cleansing your body of any metals or substances that should not be there, and also vibrating up your shoulders, down your fingertips, and also into your head, and then into the pineal gland that sits at the base of the brain, in the back part of the head. If you send that each day, that vibration, which in reality, people would say it's not real, but your thoughts of consciousness, if you do that, that is reality. And you are literally creating a vibration that your human body or your human ears would not be able to pick up because of the different higher levels of consciousness. And that doesn't matter. What matters is how you use your imagination through your meditations and believe it's happening. Because when you believe, it shows that you are a conscious being. And that vibration over a period of time will begin to fracture the actual casing around the pineal gland, which is fluoride. Try to drink the least amount of water that comes out of your taps. Try to convert yourself to spring water. It's very, very important. Or if you have a tank, make sure it's clean, cleanse the water through a filter, and drink that. That will help you in a very big way. Any questions, Michael?
So any other ways that we get calcified apart from fluoride, or is it mainly fluoride?
There is a product that they're trying to sell, and I just don't know the ingredients, and I've never really bothered. Because, the funny thing is, Michael, we got to be honest to ourselves. Ask ourselves this question. Why hasn't anyone in the Western world or from the Eastern cultures tried to bring that in years ago? 20 years ago.
Oh, you mean a cure for the calcification of the pineal gland?
Yeah, but also as an additive nutrient that will benefit the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are products that will benefit the pineal gland. Absolutely. Those products are herbs. Now, the Asian culture has been using those products for a very, very, very long time. Same with the Indian race. They have too. But no one has really bothered to really bring it out until just now. And suddenly all these so-called health products are starting to come out. And they're all like at least 3 times the cost of what they should be. And they all seem to be produced in America. So if you buy something Like Shilajit, if you buy Shilajit for, say, $75 or $85 American, that's going to cost you $149 Australian plus $20 delivery. And that's just ludicrous. I found out from this being, I won't go into this part, I found out from this being, and this being had a human life about 58 years ago. And naturally they're in spirit world, and I met this one in spirit world, and he was, what do they call those people? He was a herbalist, and he researched through his whole life doing research on herbs. And he came up with all these different products, and he found out from the ancient times what actual ingredients will help to feed the pineal gland to its highest spiritual self. Now, people would be saying, well, why is this gland so small under the brain? And how come it's got such a massive, massive job and what it can do? Well, you got to look at it this way. There are no limitations in size, whether it's large, whether it's tiny, or whether it's micro. We each have 4 quadrillion cells in our body, and that makes us up who we are, energy-wise and physically-wise. The best part of that understanding, that energy is microscopic, and there's 4 quadrillion of them. The thing is, they're all put together. They all communicate. Our whole being is a communication house. It communicates with our livers, our heart, our lungs, our throat, our teeth, our eyes, our lips, our hair, our toes, our veins, everything you could possibly think of. There's constant communication. There's constant data storage in all our internal organs, even in our skin, because it's cellular. If we learn to fully realize that we are so far beyond the physical, and by spiritually stepping up into different vibrations to higher frequencies or higher realms in our consciousness, we learn that we can go so far beyond. We can learn that we can travel not just this universe, not just over planet Earth like I do. We can travel anywhere in any universe as we fully grow consciously. And that's the secret. Elevation, the word. Consciousness, the word. Manifestation, the word. Imagination, the word. And the mind. When we put all that together, we become an open house for everything. And we can consciously close our eyes and bring in any vision that we choose to. Or we can see any vision that is being given to us, and we can dissect it so we fully understand it. If another alien comes to us and speaks in another language, we literally have the ability to understand everything they're saying, whatever language it is. So we're the ones that have the power. Now ask yourself this question. Okay, if we have the power, what is the final part of the human body that can bring this all about? The pineal gland. Yes, the mind is everything. Yes, the soul is everything. Yes, imagination is everything if we combine them. But the pineal gland gives us the ability to communicate far beyond this vibration, to communicate and pick up what someone else is saying in a vision, so we know the truth. We don't become judgmental. We know the truth. So the pineal gland is one of the most important aspects as an organ, which is tiny, in our entire being, in our entire body. Any questions?
Yeah, Kuntarkis, you were talking about the spirit that died maybe 48 years ago and that he discovered ancient herbs that were good for,
Yes.
yeah, what were they for helping the pineal gland?
Oh, mate, I that's something I don't know.
Okay.
I know that I think I can't remember the names because the names were very different and very strange. So I seem to be able to not remember because I wasn't really concerned about that. But I know one thing which really stuck out. It was worm something.
Wormwood.
Wormwood, that's it. Okay. That was one of the most major ingredients. Even if we took that by itself with moringa, we would notice a massive difference. In fact, I believe with those two combined, that would actually help more in depth the breaking up of the fluoride around the pineal gland. And through your meditations and knowing that you are a highly evolved spiritual being in reality, most of us have just lost our path. Some, it doesn't matter because they're not hurting anyone. The ones who are evil, they're definitely deep in the dungeon. They've lost their path. And all they care about is greed, lust, and very sickly perverted. That's their whole purpose. If the world knew what some of these people are like and names were mentioned, they would say, oh my God, that is a really sick male to do what he's doing. I mean, why isn't any government on the earth knowing these things about the elite criminals where they kidnap children, they sacrifice children to their satanic gods, they rape babies, toddlers, they eat them, they fry them up, roast them and eat them, they drink their blood, just like the guy in Ukraine, the president, he drinks children's blood to keep himself young, intelligent. Same with that moron over in Canada. He does the same thing. He's a president, I think. He's like a child. He's got a child brain. My God, I can't understand how no one has done anything about that. You know, I said to my father about this thing last night that I had. I said, Father, I would love to have my powers back. And he said, son, if I could give them to you, I would. And I know exactly what you would do, and I would be so proud of you. But because of what Earth is, it would go wrong. And I'm not putting you in the place where it could go wrong because of the negativity. That's why he did what he did to this planet. And he explained to me about the energies and everything. And that's why he's coming here in 140 to 180 years. I think it's 190 actually, 140 to 190 years with several other beings. And that's going to change the planet. And I've already explained all that. So if we learn to accept becoming a full vegan, try it for 4 months and you won't go back because you will feel the health in your body completely changing. If we become that vegan and we begin to literally meditate, and if we begin to feel the essence of our own heart, and we learn to feel the love in our heart, I mean the real love, to literally love yourself unconditionally, and then to feel love in someone else and love them. That is just incredible. That alone should be able to turn anyone who is a cannibal, a carnivore, into a vegan. Don't you think that's fairly true?
Yeah, finding love within your heart.
Absolutely. These people who all the elite criminals, all the terrorists, all the serial rapists, serial murderers, narcissists, psychopaths, parasites, every one of those people that you can possibly think about does not have an understanding of the heart, does not have an understanding of what unconditional love is. All they have is their conditioning from negative self-created belief systems, as well as genetic transfer, which I was writing about that today, genetic transfer from their parents, from every single lifetime. And it gets built up in your cellular memory, and it comes out when you enter a human body because it's activated by your mother's and your father's genetics of their characteristics. And that's why hundreds of millions of children who grow into adults become a clone of their parents, become arrogant with their religions, and believe they're doing the right thing. And 100% they are deluded in the illusion, which is nothing but a fantasy.
Maybe, Kuntarkis, we could just close with talking about, again, after working on the pineal gland and making it really healthy, what the positive advantages are of having a really healthy pineal gland.
It will bring humanity together. It will literally transform one's level of understanding, one's level of thinking. And they'll suddenly feel brotherhood, sisterhood, and they'll want to come together. Wars will begin to end, and those that want to start wars will be pulled out of power. Those who want to be nothing but greedy will be removed from those positions, their wealth taken away. And eventually people will all come together worldwide, because what they're feeling is their natural essence of being a spiritual being, a loving heart being. And it will change the level of everyone's thinking. So when you have children, that knowledge of unconditional love will enter characteristically into the children, and they will experience positivity through their life, and their life will be more joyous and happy. And all the negative things that we place upon children, like this stupid Netflix that just wants to be sexually perverted, they're trying to change children, that'll be all gone. And children will grow up with a healthy pineal gland. And their children will grow up with a healthy pineal gland the way it was meant to be. And the world will be one of the most beautifulest places to live and exist upon. That's what will happen, Michael.
Yeah.
That's how simple it is.
Yeah, simple in one way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Oh, are you talking about Netflix, the streaming service?
No, Netflix. Netflix is it's on your TV, and
yeah.
it's all run by pedophiles, mate.
Ah.
And they're the ones that are basically kidnapping children, same as Disney World. It's all pedophiles. It's all set up by the Freemasons. The Freemasons are the ones behind all the elite criminals. The world, like the Black State in America, that's all run by Freemasons, and they all have a very low level thinking. They think they got a high level, but there's no essence. There's no love in their hearts whatsoever, none. And that's because their pineal gland is dead. But we have an opportunity to open it up. But see, all of that we've spoken about relates to it.
Yeah.
It might not sound like it in some areas, but if you really open your mind and your heart, those parts literally will connect, because the things that we have to do to connect to it, it's not just about sitting down, meditating, taking moringa or taking something else, right? And thinking, oh yeah, everything's just going to come together. It doesn't work that way. We also have to look at all our own negativity and how we have to release it for the things that we've done to other people, like projecting negative thoughts to people. That's bad karma, and we have to learn to let it go. So there's a lot that adds up.
Does the pineal gland store like trauma or emotion or anything like that?
Does it store?
Yeah.
No.
Does it have? Doesn't
No.
relate to that specifically.
No, it doesn't. No, that's why it's attacked. See, if the pineal gland accepted massive negativities, like mass murder and rape and greed and all that type of stuff, they wouldn't worry about trying to close it down. There'd be no need for it because it'd be all negative and dangerous. But it's not. So that's why they've closed it down, because it's a pure state of being. When it's fully active and you are active as a conscious being, you are in that state of bliss.
That's where it's at. If it's fully pinging, it's a state of bliss for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
okay.
mate. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's what others would call the third eye in a physical form, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would. Yes.
Yes. And it's been revered in past civilizations, hasn't it?
Yeah, there have been lamas and high-level people who have studied the pineal gland and created physically a third eye and brought it forward. And the third eye is what sees everything, but it's directly connected to the pineal gland. It's an energy. That's why it can become a little distorted in some of those people that have had that vision and brought it forward. And people have said, oh my God, you got three eyes. But it's energy. It's not something physical. It's an energy. And it creates something like it looks physical, but it's not.
I'm just thinking there must be a frequency for that as well, a certain hertz. I've probably come across it before.
Yeah, there is, mate, there is. Because everything in reality is based on frequencies. It's just what it is.
This concludes another episode of Kuntarkis. If you'd like to find out more about Kuntarkis, find his website, which is etcconsciousness.com. He has articles there, he has his books listed there, and also if you have any reason to contact us in general for any reason, just email kuntarkis@gmail.com. That's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Michael Yon, and stay tuned for more.